Hey friends, welcome back to Creator Best Life for a brand new video. You guessed it, we're back with another review today. The review in question is a movie entitled They Cloned Tyrone. If you are living under a rock, you probably have not heard about it, but it has premiered on July 21st on Netflix. So that shows you that as of today, it is August 2nd. I've taken almost 2 weeks to watch it. That's life. Celebrated my birthday over the weekend, but it is what it is. So you already know what I'm about to ask you to do. If you like videos like this and you jive with me and my content, please give me a thumbs up. Please hit the share button and share with someone who would enjoy this content. Hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted every single time I post a new video, because I'm posting a lot these days, so you want to stay tuned. And most importantly, because you are letting me know that I'm doing a good job and you're liking the content, hit the subscribe button and join the fam. Now let's get into the review. I already told y'all in another vlog, I've got my handy dandy film and TV journal. Love this thing, found it on Amazon. I'll link it down below if you want to try it out on your own. And they also do reading journals, which I'm interested in purchasing for myself. So let's skip to the page that I was on. So as you can see, I already filled it out, had a great time filling this out, and I'm gonna give you a few details about it. So for the logline. They Cloned Tyrone is a film about a series of eerie events where an unlikely trio is thrust into the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy. Now let's talk genre and themes. This movie is a combination of a few genres and themes, including sci-fi, in my opinion, Afro-surrealism, action, comedy, mystery, and thriller. The theme is mainly about capitalism and black life in general, and I think that they did a wonderful job tying it all together. Our creators. So the writers are Jewel Taylor and Tony Rittenmeyer. It's also directed by Jewel Taylor, and you've probably seen a bit of his work. It includes writing credits on Space Jam: A New Legacy, as well as Creed 2. All right, let's get into our characters. Fontaine is played by John Boyega. Slick Charles is played by Jamie Foxx. Yo-Yo is played by Tiana Paris, and Kiefer Sutherland makes an appearance as Nixon, as well as David Allen Greer as the preacher. Just to give you guys a brief recap of what it was about, and I'm reading my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. They Cloned Tyrone thrusts you into a world that you really think that you know, but you don't know. Based in a town called The Glen, Fontaine is a drug dealer who gets shot dead by a rival. Now here's the moment when you realize that neither you nor Fontaine knows anything about this world anymore. Fontaine awakens in bed the next moment with 0 wounds. I know, it's crazy. Now, he enlists Slick Charles and Yo-Yo on this journey to solve the mystery of his supposed death. They search the neighborhood and find an underground laboratory that runs experiments on black people. The absurdity of this conspiracy is my favorite part, because we know very well that a lot of conspiracies end up coming true decades later, and a lot don't. That's okay. We don't have to believe in every single conspiracy. Some stuff comes true, some stuff does not. I'm not promoting any conspiracies, but that is the reality of life. However, we also know the history of how the government has brought harm to and run experiments on black and brown people, and this movie specifically targets how that happened in a comedic way, in a satirical way. And obviously this way that has not been proven on the black community. So it definitely plays on the fear that black people have always experienced from the beginning of time here in America, that we are not safe. The government, white supremacy, has created environments where we are unsafe and also run experiments on us, so we definitely don't want to be put in situations where that happens. And we also need to be mindful of the products that we're using, the food that we're eating, and have some stuff of our own to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and our communities. And I love that they did this in such a comedic way to where it feels real but also unbelievable. And just the mystery element was just the icing on top. So I loved how well they did that. It was also such a joy to see Jamie Foxx on screen again, because he just lights up every single scene. And he's so freaking funny, and his comedic timing is impeccable every single time. It really made me wonder throughout the movie which lines were ad-libbed versus which lines were actually written in the script. And I would love to sink my teeth into the script, because I feel like based on his background as an actor and comedian, he probably just threw a lot of those lines out. Like the banter between him and Fontaine, and then the banter between him and Yo-Yo were so perfect. I just think that there's no way he couldn't have added in any elements of his own. John Boyega is flawless per usual. I expected nothing less from him. He did a phenomenal job. And it was great to see Tiana Paris in this comedic role as well. I think that she really brought her character to life, and it was just so much fun to see how they all play it together in this kind of absurd, mystical world that they created. One of my favorite parts of doing reviews and just writing down my overall thoughts of films and TV shows that I've watched is to write down some of my memorable quotes, because dialogue is so important, and it is one of my favorite parts about screenwriting and watching movies and TV shows. So I wrote down a few of my faves. So I know I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but in the beginning, one of the characters said, who was the rival, and I believe his name is Isaac. He said something along the lines of, I can't get no self-care around here because everyone's always bothering him. So I thought that was a fun one. And then there's two funny ones that Jamie Foxx shared. The first one is he was asking Yo-Yo some questions because Yo-Yo was this character that is highly educated. She has degrees. When they took us to her home, you can see all the books on her shelves. She loves Nancy Drew, which she shared, and it was just a stack of Nancy Drew books on her dresser. And Jamie Foxx's character, Slick Charles, had looked at it, and she was talking about how Nancy Drew solves the crimes and stuff. And of course, everyone knows a character that talks like these characters, and everyone knows a character that talks specifically like Slick Charles, and his lines were just so freaking funny. And the way that they brought these lines to life was freaking hilarious. And he said, okay, we need to solve this mystery. What would that Scooby-Doo bitch do? And he's talking about Nancy Drew. Now, why would you say that? And then there was this other moment. Now, mind you, Jamie Foxx's character, Slick Charles, is a pimp, and he also loves cocaine. And so they went into the lab in this one scene, and he saw this powdery substance he thought was cocaine, tasted it, and he was like, you know what? This is nice. And the line was, ain't no snow, but I can still ski in it. And I thought that was perfection. It was hilarious. Another one of my favorite parts of doing reviews is writing down some of my favorite scenes. The following are some scenes that really stood out to me. The first scene was when Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick Charles were in the elevator of the laboratory. And while Fontaine was very serious, trying to figure out what's going on with his life and his world, Yo-Yo and Slick Charles are in the background singing into their guns. And I thought that was freaking hilarious. And they just changed the whole words. And I'm just wondering if that was ad-lib too, because that was just perfection. And the second scene was near the end when Yo-Yo was supposed to be going through her mind control, but she slipped out of her wig and was able to evade it. It was totally unexpected, but it was fantastic. Peak Black moment. Loved it. Y'all did your thing with that one. So here are my overall thoughts. I thought the story was extremely entertaining. It kept me watching it the whole time. I always wanted to know more. I thought that the dialogue was fantastic. I told y'all that's one of my favorite parts. It was spot on because most Black people know Black people like these characters. I think that it was great to see them bring these characters to life. It was so freaking funny. And I also didn't feel like there were holes or feel like there was anything that I needed closure on, which is really hard to do as a writer and creative, because you have to go back in several times to make sure and have other people read it and check for holes. And I think that it was so well executed. Another thing that I wrote, and I'm going to read this part. The last bit before the credits where they continued the world was the icing on the cake. And not to get too much into it because I don't want to totally spoil the movie, but I thought that that was such a great way to keep us engaged through the credits and be like, yo, y'all thought long and hard about this and really put some serious effort into this story, because it was great. I have no cons for that, especially that moment. It was just amazing to me. All of the actors really shined. Costume department was fire. Set deck was fire. Everything. I'm so impressed. It made me really want to just create, which I always want to do anyway, but sometimes as an artist, you get in your ruts and you don't really, you feel like you're floundering with your creativity sometimes, and you have to like switch and do something else that's fun and creative. But this one, it just made me really excited to create the things that I'm working on. I told you guys in the previous video about this story that I'm writing called Ghost Town. That's the working title anyway. But I thought that it just made me feel empowered to create. And I don't know, for some reason, this genre, and I don't know if it counts as Afro surrealism. I think it does to me, but I feel like I I didn't know what that term meant until recently because a friend was talking to me about it, and I'm working on a project with them. And now that I know about that genre and style, I realize that that's basically what I have always gravitated towards. And I love it. It's just rejuvenated me and ignited my excitement for writing and creating. And it just feels like that's more so not necessarily the sci-fi aspect, because that's not always what I gravitate towards, but definitely this style that falls under like where Sorry to Bother You would come. It was very much so giving like Black Mirror a little bit. It was giving a little bit of like Twilight Zone vibes, and basically anything that Jordan Peele has created. And I just really love the weird stories from and about Black people and Black empowerment. I think it was just what we needed. And now for the part that you've been waiting for this whole time. To rate this film, I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Acting, storyline, plot, set deck, costumes, everything. Perfection. Loved it. So many surprises in that film that I don't want to share because I want you to enjoy it yourselves. And I just thought that the dialogue was perfection. And like I said, I can't wait to get my hands on this script because it was just, I thought it was a masterpiece, to be perfectly honest. So that's all I had to say. Loved it. I hope that you guys love it too if you're interested in genres like this. So those are my overall thoughts for They Cloned Tyrone. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I can't wait to see what else Jewel Taylor has in store for us. I can't wait to see more films in this genre. I can't wait to write more films and TV shows in this scope of genre, and hopefully some books in this space because I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. So that's all I have for you guys in terms of this review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it and learned something, and maybe you want to go watch the movie yourself, maybe you don't. But hopefully it brought you joy, and I can't wait to make more videos like this for you guys because I'm having a good time writing these reviews. I really am, and just watching a whole bunch of TV shows and movies, not only for myself, but for you guys. So like I said before, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit the share button, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, guys. Bye. Something. What do you want to see?